Hey, University Transitions class. This is Anthony Kolakowski. I'm an academic success coach with the Center for Academic Achievement, and today I'm here to talk to you and give you tips about reading comprehension.
SQ3R is a great reading and note-taking strategy. Why do you need a reading strategy? Well, how many times have you picked up a textbook, read for a while, and realized that you've not remembered anything you just read? Using the SQ3R method helps you remember what you read so you can get wonderful grades and do well in all your classes that test you about information that you've read. You should use this method for any textbook reading and for any online or print articles that you read or use for research in any of your classes. The S is for skim. Before you curl up with a blankie and hot cocoa to read, take a moment to skim over the entire text. Skim means to look something over at a bird's eye view. Look at main headings, bolded words, and any pictures or diagrams. This will give you an idea of what the article will be about. This also helps you know what to expect and hopefully will trigger some background information you might already know about the topic. The next step is to ask questions. Asking questions helps you pay attention better to even the most boring reading assignment because you are essentially on a mission to answer the questions you have asked yourself. If we have a purpose, we are more purposeful. You should write down any questions you have and turn headings into questions that you must answer by reading. The first R in the 3 R's is to read. You're now going to answer the list of questions you've created by actually reading the text. The next R is to recite. In this case, it is not only okay to talk to yourself, but actually encouraged. Take notes on paper as you read and say the answers to your questions out loud if not too many people are around. Put the answers to the questions you've answered or the important points you've discovered from the reading into your own words. When you put something into your own words, whether in writing or by talking to yourself, you're more likely to remember it later. The final R and the final step in the process is to review. Read through your notes, perhaps highlight or even take additional notes on your notes. Have you ever read through your notes later and realized you have no idea what you meant when you wrote them? Doing a quick review while the reading is fresh in your mind to add a few additional details will prevent that from happening. This is also a fantastic time to talk with someone else about what you've read. Bring it up with a classmate who also had to do the same reading, or bring it up at the dinner table. Your parents will be thrilled when you have something to share when they asked you, "What did you do at school today?" So that is the SQ3R reading method. The more you practice it, the better at it you will become, and the more you will remember when you read.
Tip number 1, find a distraction-free zone. Definitely try to find a place you can read in quiet. Try not to answer any text messages or respond to any social media posts. Tip number 2, before you start reading, ask yourself some pre-reading questions. What's the topic? What do you already know? Why has the instructor assigned this reading now? Tip number 3, identify and define any unfamiliar terms. It's faster to breeze past new words and never try to learn what they mean, but savvy readers take the time to look up unknown words. This is helpful because if this word appears in the future, you'll know what it means.
Gatekeepers. What's that? Gonna have to tag this piece of paper right here and definitely look up how gatekeepers works with higher education for sure.
Tip number 4, look for the main idea or thesis. Mark this text with brackets or an asterisk. Pay close attention to the introduction and opening paragraphs, which often reveal this information. Tip number 5. As you're reading, write questions and answers. As you pursue a textbook, write queries in the margins, then answer those questions in a separate notebook. This approach helps to maintain concentration. While reading, consider whether the text answers each question. Tip number 6, change titles and subtitles to questions that you then seek to answer. For instance, the McGraw Center suggests that the section reading The Gas Laws of Boyle, Charles, and Avogadro could be changed to What are the gas laws of Boyle, Charles, and Avogadro? What this does is it helps you search for the answer for those questions within that paragraph. Tip number 7, try the what it says exercise. Read a paragraph, then write a sentence summarizing the main point that paragraph conveys. Also, think about what it does. Does this paragraph back up the author's thesis, introduce an opposing view, or go in another direction? Tip number 8, write a summary. This is a long version of what it says. Write a couple paragraphs that condense and restate an essay or chapter in your own words. You can only do this if you really understand what you've read. And looking back at your own words, it's much easier to learn the information. Tip number 9, write your own exam question based on the reading. This exercise gives students a chance to think like a professor. What do you think your professor would ask for you to answer on an exam? Tip number 10, describe what you have learned to someone else. Try explaining aloud what you have been studying. This exercise will move the material from your short-term memory to your long-term memory. It also will let you know if you understand the material. Think about doing this in study groups. Study groups are a huge advantage when it comes to studying. Tip number 11, break up the reading into bite-sized sections. If an assignment seems especially daunting, break it into a smaller one, a more manageable piece. And when your attention wanders, stand up and take a quick break. Step away from the reading. One way I do this is I flag the section that I want to read. So I'll actually tuck in one corner where I start and one corner where I want to end. And once I hit that corner, I know that I can get up and take a break. Tip number 12, start with the toughest assignments first. Tackle the hardest reading first, particularly if you struggle with procrastination. Tip number 13, build in rewards. After slogging through a difficult assignment, reward yourself with a break. Have a snack, have a chat with a friend, turn on some Netflix, throw on the Xbox, etc. Tip number 14, avoid rereading. There's just too much reading in college to read one assignment multiple times. Reading the same passage over and over also is an inefficient use of time. By concentrating more deeply, you can absorb information the first time without having to go back and reread the same material over again. Tip number 15, pace yourself. Reading dense, difficult material is hard work. Understand that reality and manage your time accordingly. Few students can read effectively for hours at a time, so schedule regular breaks. I hope you all found this presentation very helpful. Just know that the Center for Academic Achievement is always here to help. If you ever want to review some of these tips and tricks that we went over, feel free to schedule an appointment with an academic success coach or one of our academic skills mentors. Good luck this semester. Have a nice day.